just about to get underway. The runners have had some initial convergence in their routing matches. We'll see if that continues here. And a pretty unexciting first item.
Well, on the other hand, like early on, you kind of want almost anything, almost literally anything. Money can be helpful for buying bombs in Kakariko if you don't happen across any.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And also there's a merchant.
Yes, yeah, you get up to 50. You mean the one east of Link's house, right?
Well, there's that one and the bottle merchant as well. It takes 100 rupees, and you're always going to want to check that while you're there before you forget. Of course.
Vanilla sword from the uncle back there. So that's going to most likely mean these guys just go ahead and continue with the escape, which you normally wouldn't see when you're routing this way initially. It's up right now.
Yeah, that's definitely an option. And, that's gonna make a lot of the early game really easy, but I'm kind of wondering how soon we'll see the other swords, or how late rather.
Yeah, I mean, you could be taking it for an immediate sign that Aghanim is on the table. Hoping for that, especially after yesterday's race in which the bow was in the Lumberjack Cave. And not only that, JJBlu did not check that cave for quite some time.
The
flippers
routing idea seems to be spreading.
Yeah, it turns out it wasn't intentional on his part. He simply when he restarts. So he restarted at Link's house, and rather than reset and do it again, he just went ahead and went to Kakariko via the south direction. Never routed himself up. Completely agree, and odds are you're safe doing that. It just turned out not to be the case for him yesterday. As our runners continue here, see if we can...
Such a huge part of Randomizer is just routing on the fly and trying to not forget things.
Yeah, not forget things, roll with the punches, but you know, it's almost always that one thing for whatever reason, even just failing to make your input when you wanted to start from the sanctuary instead of from your house, and it can change the entire complexion of the race for you. Hot and slash strats from both these players.
It's pretty good.
Interesting to set up the death warp. I try to go down there in the dark with only 3 hearts, and that's a... JJ tried that in yesterday's race and ended up getting killed by the ropes in that room, so be curious to see what happens there, as we saw the red pendant at Eastern, the blue pendant, and crystal number 3 at the Tower of Hera.
That's kind of scary. That's just like, that's begging for pedestal seed.
Yeah, a little bit, and of course, it's also begging for some dives, especially with Eastern. Anytime you see that as a pendant, you almost got to immediately be thinking, yeah, I'm gonna go check that as soon as I can.
Absolutely.
All right, Moucheron getting down to the floor where the treasure chest is.
Now the enemies in here, if I'm not mistaken, do a quarter heart of damage.
Well, the ropes, they do half, so they can be a little bit deadly. And it looks like he got hit by one just as he was about to open that chest. And he finds the key. Now, is he going to continue in the dark? It looks like he is going to continue to the back.
Wow.
Big 20 drop there.
That's bold.
Yeah, agreed. Oh, now he's changed his mind, which I can't say I blame him. And JJBlu finds the hook shot in the thieves' hideout in the dark woods. So Seed up quick here.
I've always loved the hookshot in pretty much any Zelda game. For some reason, it's really fun.
It's a great item. Of course, this was the first game that we saw it in, but ever since, I agree with you, Jagger. It is. It's just a lot of fun. And even in this, its inaugural game, so many uses. There to stun an enemy. Obviously, you can transport places. It can be like a replacement for the boots in a sense, if you want to use it to speed yourself along a little bit. Definitely one that we like to see. JJ picking up those bombs, as you mentioned, he or might do with that money they've found so far.
Yeah, so all they got from the tree pulls is 5 rupee drops, which isn't too shabby, but it's slightly shabby, I guess.
Not the greatest, but certainly doesn't hurt. Our tracker today, Dude, pointing out that Moosh may have aborted that because he didn't have any bombs to that point, and he had no way of guaranteeing that he'd pick any up along the way. From what we saw, there were a lot of sprites flying around in the dark as well, so it wasn't from lack of trying to kill enemies to pick one up. You just didn't get the drop.
That makes sense. I often forget that bombs are generally required, because in open mode you're usually already prepared by the time you have access to it.
Yeah, generally speaking, absolutely. And of course, you're hoping for that bomb drop as you go through escape, but an entirely different story in open generally. Getting a little bit more convergence between the two runners here. Moosh going to go ahead and check to see if there are any bombs behind the bar, but instead, Power Glove. JJBlu did not check it, so it'll be interesting to see if he goes ahead and does that as he picks up the Master Sword. And a second shield.
It's probably a weight off Moucheron's mind, basically aborting on the sewers, but still being able to check the sanctuary from the back.
Yeah, that's a good point. And we saw JJBlu pick up the flute as well in Blindset. Paying off. Gets scammed by the bottle salesman and walks right over.
It's a good place to get the flute.
Absolutely. About as convenient as can be.
I'm kind of surprised at how rarely I see such a convenient placement for the flute, considering there are so many items in Kakariko. Like, even in Village of Outcasts or Thieves Town, I hardly ever see it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, JJ is going to go ahead and pick up the Power Glove, so he just waited to grab it until he was on his way back down to the south. Be interested to see here, since he has the flute, if he's going to go ahead and just dive straight into, or if he's going to check to see if it's worth it. Didn't quite catch what was on that library shelf. Did you see that, Jagger?
I just missed it.
Okay. JJBlu going ahead and blind, not knowing what's waiting for him. And it turns out to be 50 rupees, which he will go ahead and grab.
Yeah, might as well at this point. Like, you probably wouldn't if you checked it first, but if you're already here, you might as well.
Yeah, agreed. You've already taken the time. Going to location number 6 to check the desert ledge and head over to Agina's cave. Interesting but logical play given the early flute. the way and spend a lot less time than you normally would doing it.
It's so hard to route this in, but the flute makes it a lot easier.
Sure does, and it's just one less thing to worry about in so-called Sphere 0, the Light World area that has no item requirements. Just a piece of heart for his troubles, but certainly a weight off his mind, and it's a big 20 there on the library shelf, so nothing to worry about. Now JJ going ahead and making the play do... He switched to bombs, so he might be doing Houlihan. Get himself some money. Using the graveyard method to drop in there. Nope, going straight down, and he's going to use the bomb on the wall. Moucheron picks up his 50 rupees from the race game. Nothing in the back of Escape, but a heart container and a piece of heart along with 20 bucks. JJBlu walking to hut from the looks of it. And comparatively speaking, probably a little bit faster than Quit. Looting to 5. Death Mountain, of course, is open to them right now, Jagger.
Oh yeah, with the flute, it's 2 items by the logic, but technically 3 with a sequence break.
Well, and not to mention right side, the east side, because they do have the hookshot already.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I mean that's a big gaping opportunity, and it looks like Moucheron gonna go ahead and do Houlihan, get some more money. Interesting choice because there's still no Moon Pearl out there, so planning to exit and also head immediately over to Eastern Palace. No, he switched to the flute.
Interesting. Including 5 maybe? Or 8?
Looks like 7. He's gonna go to the dam.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. You do want to make sure you check the common areas, like the big 5 chests and, well, the 5 items in the mini Moldorm Cave on the off chance you get the Moon Pearl.
Right.
And he's probably getting prepared to do a trip to Zora with that land, of course.
Yes. Was that the cape we saw in that chest by JJ?
I believe it was.
The Book of Mudora, so all kinds of possibilities opening up here for the runners. JJBlu with the big rupee pickup, which really obsoletes any need to do a Houlihan for money. Now JJ has the Master Sword, but failed to pick up the heart that was available to him, so he's going to need to use only the pots to kill the Skull Kids, but he does that successfully. Yeah, that was a very lovable cave, as chat has pointed out, that Moucheron just did, and AJ opting to go ahead and continue his exploration of Eastern. Sequence break though it may be.
Did you end up finding the compass?
I think it was one dungeon item or the other, but I did not notice which one it was.
I did see the map in the big chest.
Okay. I imagine... Well, he might not necessarily have. Be on the Armos Knights. Moucheron deciding he's going to skip Agina at least for now and just go straight into Desert. Interesting choice and a good one considering the pickup. But nope, there was the compass. That's a save and quit for JJ.
That's got to make them nervous because that is a pendant dungeon that they kind of don't want to complete, but who knows?
Yeah. Or don't have to. JJ. Oh, and Moucheron finds the Moon Pearl in Desert. JJ about to pick up his book to join him. He is on the Lantern in Desert, so not going to be able to complete or get the second item available.
He does have an interesting option, though. He could opt to steal a key from the back half, which I believe is what he's doing here.
Very good point. No, he just went down and picked up his 20,
Okay.
probably because he wants to get closer to 500 for Zora.
Yeah,
That'll
makes
be an
sense.
interesting idea, though. You bring up a good point, Jagger. If JJ decides to make that play and find something important, that could be a real big turning point in this race. Especially since it is a pendant, you're not losing a lot by doing that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tough call because it's like some people think it's a bad idea in general. It's just kind of a gimmick of a play, but
Right.
there are times where it works out. Although it is only one potential item.
True. I mean, it's a long shot. Decides on, or depends
2 in 3
ultimately on.
chance.
Yeah, no, I just mean that it's a long shot that we're only talking about one item that you might be sequence breaking for, but on what the runner ultimately thinks is the best decision.
Yeah, long shot is in Ocarina.
Yeah, that's right. Moucheron now picking up a little bit of rupees from the thief in border area and now heading over to 8 to go to Zora right around the same time that JJ is heading back down from the hobo to also head to Zora. No, he's going to flute.
I'm not a fan of the farming.
Fluting to 8. No.
Just in general, it feels bad when you gotta like go into someone's house and lift up like 10 pots to farm rupees and then leave and come back over and over. In this case, he only needed to do it once, but
Just the one, right?
something about it just feels slow.
Yeah. Denying that. It is slow. Luckily, he just needed the 40 or so to put him over.
It
Getting
is
a piece of heart in
possible.
the Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, it could very well speed things up by having that early money, but it's just a bad taste in my mouth, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, if it can be avoided, it's preferable. JJ now heading to Zora as Moucheron arrives. And listen, courtesy of King Zora. So Moucheron gonna reorient himself a bit. Start from Link's house, and we'll see him switch to the flute, but then change his mind, it looks like, and just head straight over to Eastern, where we've already seen JJ. Surprising, neither runner with the hookshot has opted to go up to Death Mountain yet.
Yeah. And there is some kind of old school thought that you really want to do sarsaparilla before going up the mountain, but I don't, I don't know.
JJ's life lesson confirmed. Let's see what he decides to do. Boosh making the play. And JJ as well, at almost exactly the same time. So they're right back into it together.
And there you have it.
We'll see a high five as Moucheron comes out with the old man. JJBlu heads that way. There it is.
And will this be where we get Dark World access, or will this be what leads us to Aghanim?
Yeah, if the lamp's up here, obviously. And that will be that. Oh, and the Cane of Samaria from the old man.
Notably not progression yet.
No, certainly not, but nice not to have to worry about it later.
Absolutely.
JJ opting for a little health refill before taking on these rocks.
And we do know from deduction that Turtle Rock is required. It is a crystal, because we already know where 3 of the pendants are.
Yeah.
We got that info from Shirley.
Yes, from that guy. And hey, what do we find? Spectacle Rock with the Titans. So Dark World access has been granted, although in one of the less convenient ways, if you like.
Yeah, kinda. You could just save and quit back to the old man cave.
Oh,
Or
true,
walk
but
all the way out.
too was if they want to get in there, they've got to do it via Kakariko now, and only that location, since they still don't have that
for
hammer.
Dark World.
Yeah. At the same time, also something quite nice to have picked up is JJ doesn't quite manage to get that bomb jump. Something nice to pick up as they're already headed to the east side of Death Mountain, so this will open up the entirety of that to them, not just the Light World side. However, chat rightly pointing out, JJ has not been to Desert, so he does not have the Moon Pearl. Just a half of this.
That's pretty unfortunate, but it is still early on, and they are going to need to make a second trip up to Mountain anyway. It's
True.
just really a matter of what is in Dark Death Mountain that is missing out on now.
That was the cave of absolute money for MoucheronQuipet. I don't think there's anything but rupees in there.
And even if they don't find a progression item in Dark World Death Mountain, even if it's just a convenience item like the boots, well, I guess boots is progression technically, but
Depending. Sure.
or a tempered sword or half magic, that can save quite a bit of time as well.
Yeah. Oh, it can make a big difference, especially this early on. So, Moucheron continuing through the spiral cave, the long way, if you like. JJBlu also checking that island, floating island, and seeing the blue mail over there. Either runner takes the time to look into that. to go grab it. Moucheron finds bombs at the end of Spiral Cave and heads down now to jump into the Dark World. JJ saving and quitting out as expected. Let's see if JJ should have gone ahead and done the Super Bunny Cave. No, Moucheron just pulls out 20 rupees and a bomb upgrade. So lucks out a little bit there, does JJ, not doing that technical sequence break. All right. What do you think we're going to find in the Hookshot Cave here, Jagger?
Ooh. Arrows.
That exciting, huh?
I want to say it's something good, but I don't know. Especially version 26 and later.
And it's arrows in the first chest.
Alright.
Heart container.
Progression has a pretty high probability of being in dungeons lately.
Yep, and you called that absolutely right. Use. JJ picked up his Moon Pearl. He opted not to steal the key in Desert. He is not going to do Death Mountain. He's headed back. Oh, he's going immediately to the Mire area. Interesting play. And taking a look, Mire turns out to be the pendant. Palace of Darkness and are the Pyramid Fairy crystals.
That's pretty nice. Yeah, this is a bit of a risk because he's going in here without the mirror, so he can only check 2 of the items here unless he can open up. Let's see, Bombos Medallion. Did we see that at some point?
Yep, it was. I don't. And is both Turtle Rock and Misery Mire.
Oh, that's probably what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. So we've got just the 1 medallion requirement, and for all we know, that might get them into Ice Palace too. Might be the most useful medallion. Push now in. Looks like JJ might be hot on his heels.
Man, what a coincidence. 3-purpose coin for a 3-sided coin. Half-Life 3 confirmed?
Very nice. And this is game 3 of the Triforce game, I guess you could say.
How deep down the rabbit hole are we gonna go?
Keep it coming, I suppose. Nothing so far in Skullwoods of any use. And of course, neither runner has the fire rod, so if they don't find anything in the annoying Gibdo room, or back behind it rather, then a little bit of a bust here. Well, it's the big key, so head back up front to get captured by the Wallmaster. And another high five coming up between these runners again.
I guess I was knocking the cane for not being progression, but it is definitely convenience.
Oh, for sure. Definitely convenience. Open up that early Mire play potentially, and or early Turtle Rock play. JJ taking a moment to grab the magic bottle over here and fill up that magic meter. Not a bad idea. Meanwhile, Moucheron heading out of Skull Woods, and particularly exciting in the big key chest. Interesting, neither runner opting to bomb jump, and we couldn't quite see what was on the bumper cave ledge.
It was a B-Torp.
Oh, it was, okay. Now, that's an interesting choice not to grab that because we have not seen what the Sig Kit has.
And really interestingly, it's Moucheron that checked it, whereas Moucheron has not gone to Eastern to get his cape.
So yes, that explains why. So we'll be interested to see if JJ goes ahead and jumps in there.
He gets his bottle anyway, so I guess it evens out in the end.
Yeah. How about that? Yep, JJ opting for it. Probably be mildly annoyed when he then picks up a second bottle seconds later.
Yeah, exactly. But how will he use that bee?
Well, that's a good point. He's got some options, I suppose. Started to head over toward the ledge, since he doesn't have the mirror. Well, and there's the bug net, so it's entirely possible we'll use that bee by discarding it and replacing it with a fairy once he gets around to that. There's that green goo that Moucheron had already picked up earlier. And the lamp. These runners having a little bit more open up to them.
Alright, now they can do Aghanim.
It's true. JJ taking a death, and I was watching Moucheron. I couldn't tell if that was intentional, and he just wanted to restore
It
some
looked
health.
like it.
Okay.
He just entered the dungeon and just jumped straight into the guy.
Okay. That's sensible enough. Moosh getting trolled by the blobs in the hellway here, which always seems to happen when you're low on health. Down to 2 hearts now.
It's especially dangerous with this hallway of crickets coming up.
True. Those guys will hit you for a full 2 when you have green mail. Moucheron not taking any risks, just killing them with his hook shot rather than hoping to dodge them, and then does a nice job charging up the ones in the bombable floor room. Picks up a couple of heart drops for his trouble, so nicely done. pointing out, since we've already seen both dungeon items, that means the big chest has something.
Ooh.
JJ making good use of the cape through the hellway there.
Yeah, you're so used to struggling through that room. It's good on him for remembering he has that.
Yeah, good use of the resources you have. Behind the maiden, of course, was required to be a key, or else we wouldn't have been able to get into the big key chest room. So it will be blind. Who has the item, and as our tracker dude points out, it could very well be the hammer on blind.
Absolutely, I've seen it before.
Yeah. Not unheard of. Phase 1 down for Moucheron. Phase 2 completed, with still 7 hearts remaining, so he ought to have, well, hopefully no trouble. He's down to 3 hearts. There he goes. Nicely done keeping his cool there amidst a bunch of noise, but it's just a 5-bomb upgrade. However, it's the first crystal here of Game 3 of this second round match. Moucheron opting to check the digging game before potentially picking up Froggy.
It's pretty important because you can't do the digging game with a follower. Like, even with a purple chest, even if you drop it off somewhere nearby,
Somewhere else, right.
it'll spook out this Alec Baldwin character.
Yes, exactly. And making good use of the cape. No reason not to play it safe, so he gets his crystal. Got a match here. Time for the tour with Froggy on Moucheron's side. Without the mirror, of course, that takes away a couple of potential locations, including, since these runners, they cannot check the Bombos tablet at this point, unless they pick the mirror up along the way. Either, but no, he only gives 10 arrows, or in the Hype Cave. The formerly Hype Cave, that is.
You think things are gonna be any hype this time around?
I don't, because they've got a lot of dungeon locations open to them yet to be explored, so I'm gonna go ahead and say no, there's gonna be nothing of interest in here as Moucheron steps in.
True. Is Ice Palace open? Well,
Yep.
actually not really, without Fire Rod and Bubbles.
Bombos, but so far we have 5 arrows, the Bloomerang, 5 bombs, magic, so, but no change to the game's state, if you like.
Yeah, one big thing that the Boomerang does is that you kind of only really get the sense of when you're playing it is the that it fixes your menu. So when you're like trying to navigate and find what item you're gonna use next,
You're accustomed to it being there, you mean?
yeah, and it just makes it easier to figure out how to get to which items, because it's a little weird the way it wraps around. I mean, it makes sense, but when you have like a checkerboard pattern, it's really disorienting.
Yes, it certainly is. And any gaps really like that can really throw you off. It's true. Dwarves have a single solitary rupee, which they give Moucheron as thanks for rescuing the old dwarf in exchange for 10. So, particularly grateful of them. Moucheron now checking the Misery Mire area and will shortly discover that it too requires bombos. JJ continuing from Hype Cave. Let's see what he does. What was that? Sorry, Jagger?
I realized, well, I discovered recently watching one of the previous matches that you don't technically need 10 rupees to pay the smithies for whatever they give you. They'll just give you whatever it is anyway.
Oh, that's interesting.
They'll take up to 10 rupees or whatever you have.
JJ opting to take the way around from the south to continue the east Dark World. Really is a Froggy World tour at this point. If we're about to see Moucheron do the same thing, but do it via North Dark World, which will have cost him some time, relatively speaking, though he did turn in the Froggy Dwarf in the process. Yeah, in fact, Moucheron, rather than doing that, is going to go ahead and grab the purple chest now. JJ, as with green mail. And yeah, he's continuing the tour all the way to the catfish.
And pretty much only the best of the best are gonna say no to a full heart container when they have green mail.
Yeah. Especially if you're under 10 hearts.
I saw recently a match with Tear where he walked into the Peg Cave in Village of Outcasts.
Did he walked into it?
He left without it.
Left without it. Oh,
yeah.
I see.
And he only had 4 hearts, and he opted to go into Skull Woods, and he actually nailed the Mothula fight with just hammer and fire rod.
That is impressive. Well, these runners, search continues. Moucheron picks up his cape. We already know he's not going to find anything else in Eastern. JJ getting the bombs from the sick kid. Still needs to bring the dwarf back. He's going to get his single rupee. And so JJ's got to be wondering, well, did I mess up by not doing Dark World Death Mountain? And that's exactly where he's headed. Going to get anything there either.
He didn't have the Moon Pearl at the time.
So it's a logical play, but we already know it's one that won't pay off.
But on the plus side, at least Moucheron is losing the same amount of time, roughly, with his trip into Eastern.
Yeah, they'll all more or less have covered the same locations. And then it will just be down to Pod. There's just really nowhere else left to go.
Wow. Yeah, 45 minutes in, one crystal completed, and only one dungeon they could go into, and you can't complete that either.
Yeah, exactly. So it had better have something. Play, of course, as we discussed a little bit, because they've got Dark World access with with the hammer, it's quite a hike to get over to the Palace of Darkness. Now, Moucheron's checking Ice Rod Cave, which he hadn't done yet. JJ picks up the arrows, which were commentator cursed into place by Jagger.
I do what I can.
The art container. Now, let's see if he goes ahead and grabs Blue Mail. No, he's not going to either. Too much of a time sink. Oh, well, he doesn't have the mirror either. Neither player did. So they couldn't even if they wanted. Moucheron accidentally having Swagduck pass over him as he picks up the boulder. He looks like he's headed to Village of Outcasts and likely to Pod, and that's just what JJ appears to be doing too, seconds behind. Good point, though, by chat. Purple chest is still out there, but... No? Yeah, okay, JJ is coming back.
Didn't Moucheron deliver that?
JJ still got to do it. So that's basically your lead right there, is the time it takes to do purple chest. Between the two.
Oh, and he's doing that now.
Yeah.
And these little differences in routing deviations just kind of adding up into...
Yeah, they sure are. As we pointed out, JJ probably saved himself some time by doing the full Froggy tour. Whereas now, and only now, is Moucheron checking Catfish. So he's going to give back some of that lead. As JJ finishes with Gary and gonna head back to the Dark World via Kakariko again, and likely be able to head straight to the Palace of Darkness. Here's the red meringue from Catfish, which Moucheron decides he wants no part of.
For how long they've gone hammerless, it would almost be worth it to actually fight Aghanim just for the portal.
A good point. They have had to use a lot of time you would not normally have to. And very interesting. Actually, it looks like, yeah, JJ is going to be the one that gets to the Palace of Darkness first. Because with Pyramid, he's going to have to walk back from there. Already past the screen that leads to the pyramid from the east. And he's headed to the Palace of Darkness now, so he has retaken the lead, so to speak.
Yeah, I had lost track of who did what. I totally forgot. It was JJ that did Pyramid and East or Catfish check.
Yeah, which, you know, made sense at the time, I suppose, but it's interesting to see it come together, crystallize like this so specifically, that he's now the one with the small lead because of that routing. Now, both players in yesterday's race at minimum triple dipped Eastern Palace because they kept finding progression and leaving.
Ouch.
And then coming back later and finding the next item they needed for progression. So neither one of these players is going to leave pod until they have cleared everything they possibly can.
Now, Pod is a little scary in this seed because they don't have the bow yet, and there's a pretty rare but potentially game-breaking bug currently with the logic, where if you wind up needing to get the bow in one of the key lock locations, and there are 2 keys on the right side, you could bow lock yourself out of getting the bow.
Right. So, fingers crossed we don't have one of those situations here. There's a chance. We know there's nothing else. We are within single-digit seconds of each other right now.
So this vanilla Big Key location is one potential location for
And
both.
it's the Bombos medallion. How about that? Take your pick, guys. You've got a couple choices. Where are you headed? Well, like both runners are opting to continue. Yes, as I predicted. But once they leave here, assuming they're forced to, and they don't find the bow in the back, yeah, they've got some options now, you might say. They've got 3 of them.
Yeah, they need to find at least 2 more keys to confirm that it's an okay seed. Because if that
Right.
Bombos leads to the bow, then that could spell trouble. Well, I don't know exactly what the tournament rules are for that specifically. If they do find the bow in a bow lock situation.
Yeah.
So just one more key needed.
Yep, there they are.
Alright. Okay, so it's safe. Crisis averted.
And chat pointing out, as each of them pick up the hammer, the chat rightly pointing out, there was no Turtle Rock access until now.
Yeah, they would have been able to access Meyer.
Yeah, Myra and Ice as well.
That's right, yeah.
What else does Pod have for these runners?
It's a good thing they didn't leave, huh?
Yeah, boy, I tell you what. That would have been second game in a row. Alright, so this chest has to have something, the big chest, and it is a bee in a bottle. Moosh takes a moment, saves and quits. JJ does the same.
Huh.
What a seed. And it looks like Moucheron is leaving. JJ is heading straight to Turtle Rock. However, Moucheron is leaving
Nice.
in order
I
to
like this.
pick up some potions, so I wonder if he'll go back. But yes, I like it too. Like the you like the Turtle Rock play just straight away?
Yeah, especially in 26 and 27, it seems there are very frequently progression items in Turtle Rock, which is it's so ingrained in runners that you do Turtle Rock last, but
Yeah.
a lot of times you can't.
Yep, that's very true. Meanwhile, Moucheron heading straight to Ice Palace. And that's a gamble, I think we can all agree. In fact, JJ gonna do a 2-for-1 here, heading to the Tower of Hera first.
Oh, that's good too.
Yeah, that's a dungeon you know you can complete. It's in front of you. You've also got the ether tablet over to the left that you can check with your book. So, a couple of things at once.
And it's important to remember as well, because if you go straight into Turtle Rock, you have to save and quit out to get back to Hera.
Right. Yeah, without the mirror. Exactly. The big key is downstairs, so that's nice. Head straight up.
The one problem with Turtle Rock is that you can't check very many chests because you don't have the fire rod to go the right side.
And chat, seems better than I am, points out Moucheron's got the boots in the first chest of Ice Palace, so that has paid off immensely.
Oh, wow. And this is the place you would want them.
Absolutely. Huge reward for making that palace play with nothing but a Bombos medallion and the Master Sword. So, well done for that. And interestingly, JJ has gone down into the basement. He's making an immediate basement play in Hera, even though he doesn't need to.
Very strange.
Nice use of the bomb strats by Moucheron. Penguins there, and JJ finds a shovel in the basement, and he's now going to take a death. So it turned out to be an item, so it was not a waste of time. But it certainly could have been.
And it actually ended up potentially saving time if he finds an item in the next chest.
True, although you'd have to say, even if he did, it's still a fairly minor time save that you've risked, you know, a rather big time commitment against. But you're right; it very well may turn out quite nicely.
Yeah, it helps that little bit to offset the fact that Moucheron got early boots.
True, that will be a defining feature of this race now. JJ taking a fall, well...
And so much for that time save.
Yeah, unfortunately. Trying to use the boomerang, but you're not able to do that.
Hey, you gotta scroll the screen further.
Yep.
Oh, that's what he's doing.
Yep. Use the Cane of Samaria, which will reach far enough. And he needs to change the polarity of that crystal. Moucheron now to the Freezor room in Ice Palace. Gets out his Bombos medallion. finds the compass. At the same time, JJ finds the Tower of Hera compass. So he is going to be forced to a big key chest, which Moucheron does not have over there in Ice Palace yet. Yep, turns out to be the map, so... Moldorm holding the last item. AJ taking no chances whatsoever. He wants the full 11 hearts. Trolldorm. Or Hammer Trolldorm, if you like. And he gets knocked off on that.
Oh, man.
Go back up. Personally, I prefer to use to the hammer. This really depends on the runner.
With the Master Sword, the pokes do as much damage as the slashes, so it'll take 6 hits with that, or 3 spins. But the hammer doing the same damage as a spin with the Master Sword,
Yeah, you're gonna see 3. Now, MoucheronQuipet. 8 hearts, green male. Does have his potions, and so we know that's why he went and got them, because he knew what he was going to be faced with.
And only Master Sword.
Yeah.
It's doable. You just gotta play defensively and don't worry so much, and just make sure you don't hammer north.
Yeah.
The hitbox on the hammer is ridiculous, especially when facing north. I swear it's like only a pixel out in front of you.
Now this is an interesting strategy. Unfortunately, gotten away, but he tried to trap them in the corner using the cape.
Yeah, that's handy.
Yeah, to stay impervious to the snowballs falling. He's ended up doing a lot of damage, so that's two eyeballs down right there, and he
It's really nice.
got the third without even ever touching the potions.
Yeah,
a
really
medallion.
a nice property of the cape is that it doesn't drain when you're slashing. So as long as you keep like swinging away your sword, you're not depleting that cape, that magic nearly as much.
You're in good shape. You're absolutely right. Meanwhile, JJ entering Turtle Rock. No fire rod, so unless he finds one early, he's not going to be able to complete everything. He gets a key, however, in that first room, which can be quite a troll when you don't have the fire rod. Meanwhile, Moucheron deciding he's going to check the rest. He's going to do it the long way, if you like. Entering via the book, although, well, he has to. I keep forgetting these runners don't have the mirror 1 hour and 4 minutes into the race.
It's kind of a double-edged thing, not having very many progression items. You can't check too many locations, but you don't have to check too many locations.
True.
It hurt him more than usual early on with no easy access to East Dark World.
Yeah, it really did, didn't it? Having to make that extra sacrifice, if you will. So Moucheron now going to pick up. Neither runner opted to steal. JJ opting to use his bombos to kill the pokey here. That's a good move. Really simplifies things.
When you're that low on life, do anything you can to clear out the room.
Yeah. Moucheron finds 20 rupees as the second item in desert,
And
so that did not pay off.
No, and getting that magic refill to basically refund his bombos usage.
Yeah, it sure did, as JJ finds the big key, but that also halts his progress. Or no, it does not. He
No.
checked the big chest because you can go outside via the bomb. So, a little bit of an early abort there.
Yeah, and then there was that rolling pin room that you could check as well, I think.
Is there a key to get into that room, though? Or is there?
I don't think so. There's a key in that, or there's a keyhole in that room, in the north door.
Ah, so that's
Upstairs.
2 item locations. He's instead decided, after picking up the big key, he's going to go straight to Misery Mire. Ah, and that's right. Sports Hefe. The big key door. That's what I was thinking of. That was a key door, but it's the big key door to get up there. So, be interesting to see if this has effect on the race in the end.
Moucheron making the same play, but it's gonna be dashing through it.
Yeah. Always interesting too, especially when you have something like Boots with one runner and not with the other, how they'll end up routing a dungeon like Misery Mire. JJ conserving health with the chest, but they're at least both starting out routing it the same way.
Yeah, this is pretty typical because you do need a key to access the left side in order to switch the pegs to get access to the one chest on the right side as well.
Yeah.
In the middle.
Well, being asked in chat for a quick recap of the game so far. Divergent routing in Sphere 0 of the Light World and part of the Dark World, but no hammer. They ended up with the Titan's Mitts early as their source of Dark World access. His own way, explored every last location possible until there was only one option left, and that option was the Palace of Darkness. Ended up having the Bombos Medallion, which we had discovered was the key to both Misery Mire and Turtle Rock, farther back, so it really turned out to be quite the find for both. Moucheron immediately went to Ice Palace, made the Ice Palace play really under-equipped with Green Mail, Master Sword, and no Fire Rod. Boots for his troubles. And meanwhile, JJBlu went to both the Tower of Hera the long way but bailed out of Turtle Rock a little bit early. He had 2 more locations to check and saved and quit. So we're going to see if that turns out to be a big factor in this.
Yeah, the one thing JJ got from that whole thing was the shovel, and I would recommend pressing that advantage.
That's a good point. He's not checked it. Misery Mire.
It is pretty out of the way. It would be convenient if you could combine that with a check on like the mirror location south of the grove, but
absolutely true. That would be better routing wise, but that was out of place, so
Mhm.
it's tempting. Right, so the map in the Big Key vanilla game is concerned. So, of course, instead, the Big Key is located in the last place you tend to look if you have to do the left side. And the bow is in the Big Key chest.
Nice. Very convenient right before Vitreous.
Yes. However, have the silver arrow, so it is convenient. And Moucheron opting to quit. JJ's gonna go ahead and go to Vitreous, get his green pendants, and turn it in. Turning point.
Yeah, that's I don't know if that's a good play or a bad play. Like, I think it's just an okay play. He is kind of. Did they find both items here?
My recollection is that there was a 20 rupee,
Okay.
so that I couldn't tell you which one.
So he
we're
is
only
leaving
looking at
one item behind with a pendant.
the pendant, yeah, so that's the only difference. I had to just go straight back to pot and finish it up. Get it out of the way, I suppose.
You know, that reminds me of another location that they had to bail out of. The big chest in Thieves Town. They just didn't have access to it at the time.
True. It's a very good point. Forget about.
It was so long ago, I almost forgot about it.
Yeah. Right, so JJ, he's opting for Master Sword strats, which honestly I'm a little bit surprised by. You have 65 arrows. Yes, they are regular arrows, but
I think it might be a little faster because spin does tempered sword damage, and
yeah,
you hit like 5 eyeballs at a time.
it's
So
not
it
bad.
makes sense.
But he's had to use a potion menu a couple times. So it's and now I'm assuming he's going to menu to the bow. No, he's going to use the hammer. Now you just need 8 arrows into Vitreous.
Ooh.
Certainly a suboptimal strat.
Yeah.
And it also brings with it
A lot of danger.
yeah.
Look at how much damage that does.
And JJ has failed to kill Vitreous.
Oh, dude.
Gonna go ahead and bail out. Yeah, I just really can't understand that decision to use the hammer over the bow. Just line him up for 8 shots. He's heading to the witch's hut to get some potions. Like, I get a red. And I'm just gonna get all 3 red. So no blues at all.
I guess he's feeling really safe with half magic.
Headed to pod as well, so we'll see what Helmasaur King has.
Yeah, before I felt like it would have been awful if Vitreous had a progression item, but now I think it would be hilarious.
Ooh, Moucheron down to 2 hearts and just narrowly avoids that fireball. Would have done 2 more if I'm not mistaken with green mail.
Yeah.
Sora King there finished off. $300 rupees and a crystal. So you think the Vitreous situation would be made a little bit funny now because obviously neither runner is going to have that item, that hypothetical item at this point.
Yeah, before I would have felt bad for Moucheron, but now I could just laugh at both of them.
Well, there you go. Now, is it possible that, unless I am seeing things, did I not just see that Moucheron has the mirror? And did we all miss it? Yes, JJBlu has just picked it up. We must have missed it because we were watching.
Oh, wow.
Trying to fight Vitreous with the hammer. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
Moucheron picked up the mirror in the chest there in Pod. So there you go. So yeah, Swamp, the obvious play. I thought I had seen it, but I almost couldn't believe my own eyes because none of us had noticed.
I just thought it was a reflection of JJ's stream.
Yeah.
So we could muse now about what could possibly be on pedestal. But
It's true.
It's anything. Anything could be on pedestal.
I suppose of what's left. Yeah, there aren't a lot of requirements. We know that we can complete all of the pendant dungeons with what the runners have available. So you want a mushroom on the pedestal? You want an ice rod on the pedestal? Well, this seed could deliver. We'll just have to find out. Naturally, since neither runner had the mirror the first time they were up there by Skull Woods, the book at that point, did they? If I'm remembering right, Jagger.
Yeah.
Or no, they picked that up pretty early. Yeah, that's right. But regardless, they naturally didn't take the time to check the pedestal without the mirror available, so...
Yeah.
On that pedestal. JJ trying to get those hammer swings in, which can be difficult with the hitbox. Now he switched to the bow, and he's absolutely just demolished Telmasaur King. Like that.
Dang.
Magic of the bow.
Yeah, there was a pretty good play earlier by Helmasaur King by hugging the wall. He should have just done that the whole fight and he would have had a chance.
Yeah, he sure would have.
So with a mirror in hand, that makes the Grove play a lot more appealing.
Yeah, he's headed to the Dark World the same way as Moucheron did, but you do wonder, is he going to go ahead and make that play with the shovel? Check the ledge and check the dig spot. We're about to find out. But no, looks like he is headed straight to Swamp Palace.
Yeah, it's a fair play.
And a tempered sword for MoucheronQuipet in the left side of Swamp. So going ahead and completing that in the first place, instead of upon re-entering after the fight with Argus, turns out to be an excellent move. That tempered sword really simplifies the matter for that particular fight.
Yeah.
Well, based on what we've seen, an hour and nearly 22 minutes in, Dagger, what is your feeling about how play out and finish up for these runners?
Well, JJ's he's a bit behind without those boots. He's got that shovel advantage and that Tower of Hera crystal and the big key from Turtle Rock, but
We've just,
I think
just
it's
found one of those
wrong.
required items here in Swamp, the Fire Rod. So, how's that for? Is it a situation where every time we find an item in one of these wide open, obvious locations, that's to making Moucheron's advantage insurmountable?
Yeah, like, well, of course, like the more he finds it's just like lying in his way, the better it is for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that death on victory has really hurt JJ.
Yeah, it certainly did, even if we're just talking about a matter of the time that getting the Vitreous and doing the fight. It still could make a difference ultimately. 20 rupees on Argus, so Palace regardless. And we might just see a pedestal check here pretty quick.
Yeah, with that fire rod and mirror in hand. Can you imagine how they would feel like bailing out on Meyer if it happens to be a pedestal seed?
Oh, yeah. That would certainly make for some drama. Big 20 at the Bombos tablet for Moucheron. Let's go ahead and flute from here rather than go up and check the ledge and head over, as we suspected, to Skull Woods, most likely.
It's definitely something I would want to clear out first, and then you could do North Dark World after that, doing the Grave Cave with the mirror, the bonk spots.
It's a good point. So yeah, coming out, going ahead and covering all those things. Sounds like good routing. Yeah. His Fire Rod. Makes me wonder, in his case, if that's going to push him to Ice Palace. While Moucheron quickly heading to the back of Skull Woods. Of course, with half magic, able to just spam the fire rod to get everything taken care of.
It's occurred to me that it's actually to JJ's benefit that he bailed out of Turtle Rock early, because like, even if Ice Rod is in there, like in those two chests, or a key or something, like he still needed the fire rod to complete Turtle Rock.
True.
That's in here, so
a good point.
Make any progress.
Quick work of Mothula by MoucheronQuipet. Gets the map for his trouble. And JJ finishes off Sword, as he still has the left side of Swamp Palace to check, should he choose to do so. He may be feeling behind. They decide there's nothing on the left side.
It's scary when there are two items in there.
True.
It's scary when there's one item in there.
Yeah, also true. And the pedestal says, have a better defense in front of you, so that would be the mirror shield of these two. Now, wouldn't it be something? Now, this is interesting as well. Moucheron going to check Checkerboard Cave. Wouldn't it be interesting? Spot ended up being the Ice Rod. So a double dip into Turtle Rock always would have been required. And JJBlu, because of his early Turtle Rock gamble, ended up getting that information long before. Exit, of course. But now it looks like Moucheron is headed into Turtle Rock.
Yeah, the Hera Turtle Rock combo.
Yeah. More accurately.
He does get to take the fast track to Hera, though.
True. Not having to walk all the way around, definitely a bonus. But no check of Spike Cave at this point.
It's unfortunate. I love that cave.
You love Spike Cave?
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I guess it's the masochistic gamer in me.
Meanwhile, JJ getting his big 20 on the Bombos tablet. He's opting to head back. And it looks like he's going to do the overworld location checks. I think. Given the game situation, given that he knows he's taken death, he might be thinking, my opponent's going to be checking dungeons, most likely. I may as well check something else and try to regain any lost advantage.
I think a big part of Spike Cave is just like how few items can you get away with going through it.
Yeah, that's always fun. Absolutely. Well, Fairy in a Bottle on the... That's JJBlu's full compliments. And here he goes to the big spot, so... Very potentially interesting twist here.
Survey says...
This piece of heart. Switches back to the flute. Is he headed to Ice Palace? Yes, he is. So going to get his boots shortly. Certainly going to have an easier time with Cold Stare than Moucheron did, although under the circumstances, Moucheron had an absolutely outstanding fight. And news is Moucheron that he's got to go down to the basement. Oh, and he manages to avoid the troll. Well done.
Yikes. Yeah, I was gonna say that was the danger of fighting him with Master Sword, is that you could get him into the enraged phase, but if you do a poke with the Tempered Sword, that's effectively a Master Sword damage.
Yeah, exactly. There's the boots for JJ, and off he goes. While Moucheron headed down for the long wait. And Moucheron is also using the pull strat with the cape, preventing the magic meter from draining.
Yeah, so currently Moucheron does have a dungeon lead on JJ. However, like every moment he doesn't find the ice rod is just more time that JJ is catching up.
That's right. We know he's not going to find it in Hera. We know he's not going to find it in the Turtle Rock. Could be...
Well, we don't know that, actually.
Well, we know he won't find it in a couple of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't know. A few of the ones that were both inaccessible to JJ and which he skipped over his trip in just may have it.
Yeah, now Moucheron has all of Turtle Rock accessible, as well as Mimic Cave.
She's checking now.
Cave.
Checking Spike Cave now. So, instant cape strats with the boots. And gets a bomb upgrade.
You tried.
Yes.
I think that cave reminds me of a cave in Metroid Prime, where you could opt to just tank damage through like constantly damaging environment and get an early required item. But it takes like 1400 energy to do so.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, I guess that is a similar situation between the two games. JJ routing Ice Palace than Moucheron did, and it's paying off because of the locations of things. Moucheron, for example, when he encountered the big key chest, he did not have the big key yet. So, slight differences that can end up. And meanwhile, Moucheron, yeah, he's going to go ahead and see if he can't find that ice rod in Turtle Rock. The big play. There aren't a lot of locations left in the overworld, but there are a few. Pretty much checked all the pendant dungeon locations. So... It's a good play. Sports Hefe pointing out in chat that the Armos Knights do have an item. The Eastern Palace chests were front-loaded with the dungeon items, so that does mean there is an item back there as well.
Yep, that, Thieves Town big chest, green pendant from Meyer. It's a lot of loose single items.
Yeah. Yeah, there sure are. So, to criticize this play in any way, because it's a perfectly valid one.
Yeah, I'd say at this point, this is Turtle Rock is the best play.
Alright, so as MoucheronQuipet enters Turtle Rock via the Bombos Medallion, JJBlu heads down to Cold Stare. The Bombos Medallion. Nope, he's going to go with the Fire Rod. Seeing as he has the Tempered Sword, it's a little bit faster strat as long as you get your damage in. Goes. Really nice fight. JJBlu makes quick work of Cold Stare.
Oh yeah, that's so great with the Tempered Sword, especially when you get him stuck there in the corner.
Yeah, and he really did a good job. Just the slightest of little escapes by the last eye puff, but quickly dispatched.
It's really tricky to time that sword slash.
Yeah, and dodge those ice cubes. Moucheron now getting to check two chests that JJ did not have access to, as he did not have the Fire Rod when he entered Turtle Rock.
Meanwhile, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not sure if Moucheron checked the Bonk Rocks in the King's Tomb. Did he?
True, he has not.
So JJ may very well check a few things that Moucheron hasn't.
Yeah, he might do that right now, along with his Skull Woods check. Meanwhile, Moucheron finding absolutely nothing but the compass and an arrow upgrade. The Fire Rod locked part of Turtle Rock, so as it turns out...
yeah, there's a key in either Big Chest or Roller Room.
Yeah, so... back.
That'd be pretty killer if Ice Rod is in Laser Bridge.
Yeah. That would be... you'd have to say that's probably the end of the race. Well, it would have to be. JJ about to discover his shield upgrade at the pedestal. MoucheronQuipet finds the big key in the vanilla location. JJ going to finish the back of Skull Woods. Both players opting for Fire Rod spam in completely different parts of the game world. Definitely a sensible strategy available. Imagine we're going to see a Mimic Cave check here from Moucheron. Yes, we are. And JJBlu makes quick work of Mothula. Just a piece of heart in the Mimic Cave, so the hunt continues. You've pointed out a bunch of locations, Jagger, but which one do you think it just might be?
And I really want it to be Overworld, because,
Keep this thing alive?
yeah, I want this to be a close match.
JJBlu opting to flute away. We're going to check Checkerboard Cave, but that means neither runner has checked that North Dark World slash, well, kind of North Light World.
I want it to
So
be
many.
at Chasserali.
Yeah, so be the pendant. He's going to go ahead and check Desert too, which we already know is not the answer. Right, well here is the moment of truth for MoucheronQuipet. Go ahead.
Moments of truth, as it were.
Yes, absolutely. Open the safety entrance. A death is no big deal time-wise. May as well make use of that cape. First chest, the ice rod. Just like that.
Man.
Pain of Berna in the second. He's still looking for the key, and there it is. MoucheronQuipet at 1 hour 42 minutes is in go mode, and he is in Turtle Rock dungeon. And as we know now, not only did JJBlu have continued on, but he could have continued on all the way to the laser bridge. Once he picked up that big key in the vanilla location. Pet now. Very quick work of the left Trinex head. Hits the stun on the right one. Dodges the middle head.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
guess JJ's pulling the trigger on Turtle Rock and finishing it off.
Yeah. No, I am surprised, however, that he also did not check all those overworld locations you mentioned, and very nice job in Phase 2 by MoucheronQuipet to make quick work of Trinex. He gets a piece of heart and crystal number 7. JJ opting to get the blue mail now that he has the mirror, which,
Yeah, it's a fine play.
all things considered, Turtle Rock, no easy ask, no matter how much you have in potions. Same with Ganon's Tower.
And we saw like his level of confidence with picking up the 3 red potions earlier.
True. Meanwhile, MoucheronQuipet has opened Ganon's Tower. Do we have any guesses on where that big key is going to be, chat? And my apologies for not bringing that up sooner. But if you get one in quick, we can find out if you're going to have the right answer. What do you think, Jagger?
I always go with lucky number 8.
Lucky number 8. Well, it's not in 1 or 2, and having found a key, Moucheron opting to go right side here. So for you, number 8 will be the first chest, I think.
Yep. In Star Force Room, yeah.
Yeah. Oof. Just gets through the door, having a little bit of trouble there. JJ, having not found a key in the fire rod locked room of Turtle Rock, I wonder if he's now thinking to himself, there's no key in there. That means I could have kept going, but meanwhile, Moucheron, no big key.
Yeah, this route has become pretty standard. Like, Moucheron's gonna pick up the key and mirror out. Although I personally prefer seeing the like all the way to Armos play on the right side.
Really? I mean, that's a... I would say, wouldn't you?
It's actually if you're checking all the chests along the way, it is faster to get to the Armos Knights if you go right side.
Mm-hmm. If you're thinking
there
it's
are
behind,
more chests on left side. So.
yeah. Comes number 8, and Moucheron just gonna go ahead and ether these. Quick work of them. Oh, and the big key's in number 9.
Wow. So close.
Goes ahead and opens up. In that room, does not find either the silver arrows or a mail upgrade, which I imagine he would be happy to find at this point.
I could see it now. Did you find the silver arrows in Thieves Town?
That's a good one.
Yeah, either that or Eastern would be pretty funny.
Eastern, yeah, that would be a good one too. I don't think he would say in Misery Mire if it was the pendant and it turned out to be Sastralas, so we wouldn't know if he just said in the light world.
Yeah.
Our tracker, Dude, pointing out that if he said Turtle Rock, that would be even better. Turns out that's the map we've just discovered, however, as JJBlu picks up the last chest that Moucheron skipped. This, the very last possible moment, there's the ice rod for him. And he heads back out. Moucheron with some nice fire rod strats here in got a little bit trolled there by the pillar. But continuing on quite nicely. And meanwhile, JJ's turn to get trolled by the anti-fairy. Moucheron switching over to arrows in that room as I assume he wants to conserve the remainder of his fire rod magic for here. Missed his first shot, but still doing good damage to the remaining 2 heads. And he got the second one on that cycle. JJ failing to get the switch over to the fire rod before the first Rhinex head is killed, but once he does, he makes quick work of the second one. Little rage shot at the middle head. Quipet gets through Land Middleus.
Yeah, it's tough to remember to switch before finishing off the firehead.
Yeah, it can be a little thing that gets you.
For those who don't know, you can't switch items when there are explosions from bosses exploding on screen.
A design decision that is clearly intentional, but we aren't exactly sure why. So MoucheronQuipet in the JJ heads to Ganon's Tower. Going to see chest check. Yes, we are. Piece of heart. The compass. Of course, it does it when you need an item. To be in Ganon's tower, that you will get the map, the compass, or both in the chests upstairs.
And it's looking like JJ's doing the what's called the Dark Magician route, feeling behind. Named so for a runner who used it, called Dark Magician.
Well, and he's going to find his big key pretty quickly and just mirror immediately. He didn't even check the last two chests. Meanwhile, Moldorm 2 has gone down, and in the validation chest, $5. So it's all down to execution on Aghanim 2 and Tempered Sword cannon fight. First cycle, getting a double. Gets it on his second cycle, however, so that's 3 of the 6 required hits. Up to 4 now. One more hit, and it's on to Ganon, and there it is. We're just shy of 1 hour 52:30. Out comes and a nicely timed bonk by MoucheronQuipet. Now, do you recall, Jagger, if Moucheron still has a blue potion left, or if he is out of them? Has he used both?
I don't think so. I think he's got at least one.
Got that on reserve.
Did he buy them?
Yeah, I remember him buying them early before he went in to do Ice Palace, because that was such a dodgy, dicey play to do, as under-equipped as he was. So, assuming still has one in reserve, he's probably fine anyway, because he's managed to do enough damage to Ganon to get through the second phase, and he has plenty of health and magic. But you never know. It could potentially present a problem for him. Meanwhile, JJ just finishing up Landmolas 2 as MoucheronQuipet is headed toward the final stage of Ganon. You're gonna have to be careful here and get the torch glitch for sure. Alright, he does. So now the silverless.
And the silvers were indeed in the light world. We'll never know where.
Missed that one, so he still only has 2. Needs 12 if I'm remembering correctly. For 3.
Yeah.
4. Halfway there. Hit by a fire bat and headed toward the edge, but didn't quite reach it. Been dancing closely with that one as well, so some interesting developments here in this fight. I believe he has 3 hits left to go on Ganon.
Yeah.
And that does it.
What a relief.
What a relief indeed. MoucheronQuipet has defeated Ganon and taken Game 3 of this Round 2 match with an official SRL time. 55 minutes, 31 seconds. Congratulations to him.
Wow, that was closer than expected. Or closer than it seemed. This is only about 2 fights away.
Yeah. Really making a good run there in Ganon's Tower, making the right call, going left side immediately. We'll see if we can get MoucheronQuipet in for an interview. As JJ heads over to nice Aghanim 2 fight there by JJ. Looking for the sub 2 hour, although it will be tough to pull off. And we have MoucheronQuipet joining us.
Oh, hey.
GG.
GG.
Hey, thanks.
Oh.
What a seed.
What a seed indeed. How did you feel about picking from the choices you had available to you?
I was feeling behind most of the time until I found that bow in Meyer, and that was a big relief.
Ah, the Bow and Meyer, okay, because we, of course, got to watch what both of you did, and you were within seconds of each other after looking for everything. You both looked for everything until Paw. And then you decided Ice Palace. And of course that gave you the boots very, very early by comparison.
Yeah, I did a bad choice when I left Hype Cave too early.
Yeah.
Before going to pod, I facepalmed myself after that, so that's why I feel behind. But the Meyer play, I thought I should be good now. And then the Ice Rod.
Yeah, that one. How did you feel?
Well, if I would not have seen the Ice Rod here, I don't know. I would have been. I felt very bad.
Well,
but yeah, well, Ice Rod felt good after that.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure it did. I mean, talk about the play working out. Now, here's something that you may be surprised to learn.
Yeah.
Was Turtle Rock. When you went to Ice Palace, he went to Turtle Rock. The big key in the vanilla location out of the dungeon. As you later found out, there was no key behind the fire rod locked. So that knowledge you could have had of the ice rod's location could have saved him a lot of time. As it turns out, he didn't know it for as long as you didn't know it, more or less.
Yeah. That must feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Still a close race.
Yeah, really close. I mean, you guys, once again, just as all three of these races have been, whether we were commentating on the high fives you kept giving each other throughout the race.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was
it really
on
was.
Moldorm too when you were finishing it.
Okay. Well, since many plays I did, it didn't fix that they were bad choices, but they didn't give anything. So I thought JJBlu did a lot of things like me. So until I left the Hype Cave too early. So This
Well,
seed was rather truly.
yeah, no, it certainly was. And JJBlu finishes with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 0 minutes, 29 seconds. So about a 5-minute difference between the two of you. It really just came down to that Turtle Rock situation.
Yeah,
A lot of things, really.
It's really bad. I hate this.
and what was that? Sorry, Jagger?
You guys were crossing paths a lot and pretty much doing things in, like, not quite opposite order, but, just like a bunch of little decisions that, just paid out better for you.
Yeah.
Like going to Ice Rod first, getting those boots, going straight to Meyer.
Yeah, straight to Meyer, getting that bow, and then finishing up Pod, getting the mirror and Pod. I mean, yeah, it's true. Your routing was right on point, Moucheron.
Yeah. At this point, the item chain was rather clear. So before there was nothing, and then it was rather linear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to be joined by JJ. He did want just to let the viewers know that he's thankful for their support and exchanged GGs in the chat already, Moucheron. So,
Congratulations. The free rides were closed, well, except the last one because I goofed. But
well, it was close throughout, you could say, at least.
But they are good race. JJBlu is a good player. So
yes, he is.
Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts for us?
Well, thanks for the good work you're doing, and also thanks to the restreamer and the tracker. I didn't thought I would go this far, so I'm happy about that.
Looking forward to the next round.
Yeah, and I think I have to go watch some races from my future opponent.
Fair enough. And bringing that up, that he's moving on, well, if you've enjoyed both of these runners today, please go ahead and give them a follow. The addresses are there in chat. And he also mentioned thanks to our tracker, Dude, and of course our restreamer as well, Ryutech. Our thanks to them. And it's been a great match between you guys, and we're thankful that you put it on for us.
Yeah, thank you.
I think I'll leave the last word to my co-commentator, Jagger, tonight. Final thoughts?
Beans.
There we go.
Good enough.